Myles Jackson, what's been going on, brother?
What's
How you
happening,
been?
man? Been good. It's been a minute.
Yeah, that has probably since high school, brother.
Yeah, for real. How you been?
Man, so I mean, I've been doing all right. So what I did, I was living in Augusta for a minute after high school. I ended up working at Mercedes.
Mhm.
Transferred down here to Athens, made a little bit more money, so I'm staying here for a little bit. What you been up to, bro? I haven't heard from you, seen from you in a minute. What you been up to?
Man, you know, football had took a weird turn.
Yeah,
I went to Lenore
explain
Ryan
that.
straight out of high school. Yeah, I went to Lenore Ryan straight out of high school.
Yeah,
Played there 2 years. Um, Ended up going to a junior college for a semester, and then ended up deciding to go to UGA. Got invited to
yeah.
come as a walk-on, and spent the summer basically just training, preparing for that. And then, uh, you have to take that semester off when you
Yeah.
transfer up a division. So I was training and tore my Achilles, man.
Oh,
The September before I was supposed to be, uh, playing at UGA.
damn.
And then uh, it was like a 26% tear, so it wasn't too bad. It was able to heal on
Yeah.
its own. And I just kept training on it and decided to go out. Still went out there, did well, but it just wasn't well enough to, keep on doing it. So done with football.
Yeah.
Then
Tell me
now,
about that,
man,
bro. So, from someone who's never torn, I mean, I had a slight tear in my labrum at one point. There are a lot of athletes, Kirk Cousins, KD, Kobe dealt with that. Explain like that feeling. What is that sensation whenever that happens? Like, what is the difference between a tear, a slight tear, and what you have?
yeah. So I've I tore my labrum out the socket, right,
Mm-hmm.
when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Arm went completely numb. Didn't even didn't even feel it. But with this, it was a little bit different. So it was torn, but it was lacerated from the ice bath. The
Yeah.
bottom of the metal tubs, it
Mm-hmm.
actually jumped up and like embedded itself into my Achilles. I had to
Oh
pull it
Lord.
out of my leg. So it was more so like a shock factor, not necessarily running and then it just tore. Um, a lot blood was spewing out of it. I ended up having to drive myself to the hospital and get stitches for it. But the next day, man, I would easily say that is probably one of the worst pains I felt from an injury and during my sports career, period.
Yeah. Still, a lot of people are. So, what exactly happened? Because a lot of people, what they do, they try to plant that foot, or they're trying to, do a juke move, or maybe they're stepping back in an awkward way, and that's how it snaps. So, what exactly happened to you?
So when I originally, tore it, it was like I said, it was a laceration really
Yeah,
in the bottom of the ice bath. But then the second time around, when I was playing and it just kind of was giving out on me, I'd be running and then I wouldn't have no push off. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, how you normally you have that bounce.
absolutely.
Couldn't control it at all. And I could just feel it just stretching and stretching more. And I was like, man, I'm about to tear it.
So you
Like,
could feel it, like you felt like the
yeah, you
tension
could
in
feel it.
that Achilles.
Yeah,
That's
you could feel it.
wild, bro. That is
Yeah.
wild. Jesus. And how long have you been dealing with that? So it started what, junior year, high school, or college, sophomore year? What was that?
Yeah, that happened going into my junior season, what would have been my junior season.
Yeah. Damn, man.
And then yeah, that spring going into my senior season is when it basically got reactivated.
Yeah.
So
Tell me
yeah,
about the
now it's feeling
mental.
better.
Yeah, tell me about the mental like toughness you have through that, especially when you're trying to live a dream and you're someone as athletic as yourself. What
Yeah.
is the mental breakdown? You know you want to get out there, but you can't do it right now. And what made you decide, okay, I can't do this anymore? Like my mind can, my body can't.
Man, I'm I'm gonna describe as I like to think of myself as like a worker bee. Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoy working.
Oh, I know.
Um,
You put in the work, bro. I know.
yeah, so it was one of those things where when I no longer could do the extra, like I couldn't go to the gym after practice to get in extra work. I couldn't do any extra running. I could barely get through the workouts we were doing, period. But when I knew it got bad was when I had to choose to stop competing during drills, like stop competing at 100%
Yeah.
in order to preserve being able to even do the drill again. So I was like, okay. So I'm choosing to be out here in a time where I really need to like show out, right? Which I was, don't get me wrong, but I'm still not at 100%.
Yeah.
And if I do give 100%, I know that I'm going to tear it again. And that's just kind of when I had to start thinking, okay, well, when football's over, what does this mean?
Yeah. So what avenues after football have you been taking? I know you've been working out. Listen, bro, I tell whenever me and my brother talk about you, I was like, that dude does the most stuff out of anybody ever, and he makes sure he does it the best ever. I mean, you hunt, you fish, you play guitar, you do backflips off whatever car you feel like you need to do that day. Like, bro, what? Why is Myles Jackson so competitive? Why is Myles Jackson so um motivated? Why are you so motivated? What keeps you going, bro?
Curiosity, bro.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like, if I see something and I think it's cool, I want to know the ins and outs of it. And that's what everything. That was with schoolwork. That's with my business now. That's with everything. Every person I meet, I want to get to know you.
Yeah,
Uh, so anything I find interesting, I want to get to know it.
absolutely. So, what my brother and me used to talk about is just like all the shit you were able to do at once. It was insane. You would like. I remember summer practice. We have like a two a day or something. I get home, I'd be dog tired. We look at your Snapchat and you playing guitar or something. I'm like, how does this dude have the energy to even like the mental energy, especially on a day where we're not even putting pads on. We're just running on the track and doing weightlifting, and it's 110 degrees outside. I'm like,
Yeah,
this dude is going home playing guitar and going about his. Where does that energy come from? Where did that come from? Was that just a motivation factor or mental stability? Where did that come from?
bro. I don't even know.
Yeah,
If I'm being honest with you, I really don't. I think it's probably just that want to be the best I can be at
yeah,
whatever it is I have at hand. So if that means, if I know I want to be the best at guitar, then whatever happened during practice really doesn't matter. I still got to
yeah,
practice the guitar.
absolutely. That's crazy. A lot of people don't think that way. Me and my brother, like I said, me and my brother used to talk about you all the time. And then like at practice, whether it was scout, I hated playing against you on scout team. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that now, because I'm telling you, I could read you off to the
Uh,
left, and if I threw to the right, you were still at the ball. I've never seen that type of off ball quickness in my life, bro. So what was it? Where did you get that boost during practice? Where did you get that? Even against scout team, first team, where did you get that
uh,
boost from? Because bro, when you travel east to west very easily, it's insane. I've never seen anything like it. Like I've played against a lot of good players. I feel like, but when it comes to going east and west, there's only very few I played against where I'm like, yes, he's the best, and you're definitely top three against what who I played against.
yeah,
Where did that come from, bro? Where did you know you could get east to west and you can break that down? You can make an effect on defense.
bro, straight straight studying. Really. Uh, with the game, I tried my best to not necessarily. I studied the plays. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
but what you should do better than anything is study human nature.
yeah,
So I'm looking at film. I'm not really trying to figure out what the quarterback's doing, what the receiver's doing. I'm actually trying to get into the head of the offensive coordinator.
yeah.
I know what the offensive coordinator is thinking, what he
It's
likes to
very easy at
do.
Grovetown too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't hard.
Yeah,
So I was like, all right, when this happens, this has definitely happened. Make that decision. Choose not to think twice about it.
yeah.
Go. If you're wrong, I was still going to hit somebody anyways.
Oh, I
But
know,
if
I know.
I was wrong, then whatever.
I've gotten cussed out on multiple occasions for making the wrong read, and then you, Shamar, somebody else taking somebody's head off, and I'm like, bro, we got way too many
Yeah,
we got way too many athletes on defense. This is, I mean,
yeah.
if I'm being
We were
completely
loaded.
honest, if Grovetown had the offensive line that matched the athletic ability of the skill players, I really do feel like they would have been really good. I really do.
Yeah. No, I
And
I agree. Yeah.
talking to the people who don't really understand football, explain how hard the DB slash cornerback slash linebacker position is. Because a lot of people don't understand. They see people back there, you know, you have so many different reads, so many different plays. Sometimes you can split the entire field. This play will be on this side, this play will be on this side. Explain how hard that those positions are.
You got to think fast, and you have to practice those reads so much that it becomes instinctual.
Yeah.
The key on the field is to actually not think. It's to just straight up do. That's
It's
why
just
practice
instinct.
is important, but knowing what is happening and
Yeah.
your body being able to react automatically, that takes it to a whole different level. So I would say, as far as like how hard the position was, man, it's a lot of reads at. I thought it was a lot of reads at safety. It's really a
Yeah.
lot of reads at linebacker.
Yes.
Um,
Especially at the
and
RPO, because a lot of colleges right now are in that RPO. So if you make
right,
the wrong read, that could be a tutty right there, maybe a long, long run. Or he could
yeah,
fake that, toss it up, touchdown. So it's the way they're running football now is a lot harder than I think it used to be. Because whenever I was growing up, and especially in Grovetown CSRA, it was all single back, just I formation, just because we had big backs and we just trusted our backs to get through. As I got to high school, the RPO came very, very popular. And I don't know who made it popular. It might have been Lamar Jackson whenever he was playing for Louisville. But I remember we started doing the RPO, and that's got to be hard for defenses, man.
yeah. I mean, let's even look at this at the collegiate level. When I was at Lenore Ryan, we ran a quarters defense, right? In a four
Yeah,
two five.
yeah,
And whenever we played against teams that had the RPO, our either our rover or our will linebacker would be what we called our hold guy, hold
yeah,
and fold. And during the RPO, it was his job to actually not move at all. Crazy enough, like you want to go with the flow of the play because
absolutely.
like, oh, it's moving away from me, and I know that if he gets the ball, I have to crash immediately. But you have to wait till the ball is cleared. You have to have that kind of patience and
Yeah.
discipline, yet the urgency to get there, like urgency to make that decision.
Yeah, a lot of people say like the quarterback is the hardest position, and being one that played it, when it comes to reads and you have to read the entire defense and make sure your team is in line, easily the second hardest is either linebacker or cornerback because you have to watch the
Yeah,
quarterback, you have to watch the running back, you have to see who's coming across you. Like that's I think people who sit at home and maybe haven't played the football, football game or whatever, and complain and all this other stuff, I don't think they understand how hard. It's not checkers at all. This shit is chess. This shit is
yeah,
chess. It's a
no,
lot more moving pieces than a lot of people think. So whenever somebody does something wrong, whether a QB makes a wrong read or a linebacker makes a wrong read or a cornerback, they're like, "Dude, I could have made that play." I'm like, "No, no, the fuck you couldn't," because that play right there, the only reason that play happened was because the head coach or the offensive coach made a better read than the defensive coach did, and he called the wrong play, or maybe that cornerback got burnt, or maybe he made the wrong read. There's so many different
yeah,
levels, and a lot of people don't see it at face value, and it's a
yeah,
lot harder than people are thinking, man.
yeah. Sure, and it's a lot of statistics that goes behind those
Yes,
calls as well. Like, linebackers tend to be hella smart,
yes,
um, and that's because they're able to process those kind of statistics fast. In this situation, like this down in yardage, what are the top three plays that they run out of the six, right?
yeah,
Or at this down in yardage, what does this receiver normally do? Do they normally are they normally in this formation? In this down on this side of the field. It's all those little things that are taken into calculation that
it's
people
massive.
don't
It's
even
big.
know.
It's not only the plays you're calling; it's the chemistry the team has as well. So there's a lot of different
Yeah,
aspects that come with the game. And as someone who's played it, maybe not at the collegiate level, but at high school level, who has seen these plays and how intricate they can be, especially if you
yeah,
go against like a bigger team. We were 7A. I think there were some 8A schools we may have played, but they have these very intricate plays that they know exactly what's going to happen, and they study film to a T. And I think
yeah,
that's what a lot of Columbia County schools and other schools who are mostly worried about, academics, which is cool, but there are so many athletes coming through these schools that I think are being wasted. especially with
Yeah,
NIL now. I mean, they can get paid in high school now. They can get paid, and they can get shipped off to California and get the money they want.
yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
facts. NIL, yeah, NIL is huge.
It's crazy. But explain to the people. So you played high school ball, you played collegiate ball. What is the biggest difference between high school ball and collegiate ball? And I'm sure this is a big step up. I'm sure because then they throw nutrition at you.
Yeah, the reads and the schedule. Honestly, uh, schedule was it depended on what time of year it was, but it could be brutal.
Yeah,
Um, it was a big change for me for sure. A lot of these like big 6, 7, 8 schools, they kind of have that training, but we didn't really have that where we played. And
yeah,
then I'd also transferred to, a much smaller school. We definitely didn't have that there. So walking into that college schedule and just that coaching lifestyle was definitely a big transition. Um, but as far as like the game, it's the speed and how fast you have to be mentally.
yeah,
That was the biggest difference. There were several kids that were great athletes, like 4.3, 40-inch vert type athletes that were sitting on the bench because they couldn't make the right reads.
yeah. Absolutely. So it's just mind over matter kind of thing. So they had it together. They just couldn't get it together mentally.
Yeah, exactly. Who was
So what do you
physically
think
tough? That's
holds
why the
people
schedule is
back
so
from that?
hard.
What do you think people hold? Why does it hold people back? Why are people able to be so physically gifted, but they just can't get it right in their head?
I think that's because I would say maybe a lack of exposure.
Yeah. Do you think a
Like
lot of
that
these
could
cats come from like a 2A, 3A school where their athleticism made up for the lack of mental awareness?
I think that people only really have to grow to the level of what is acceptable where they're at, right?
Yeah.
What makes them survivable. So I know personally, coming from a smaller town as well, but also living in bigger places, you could sometimes see just limitations in thinking patterns, but it doesn't necessarily mean they were wrong or that it held them back, but this is just a different space and they can either choose to grow or not to grow.
Yeah.
So it's really just one of those choices you have to make. So that 4.3, 40-inch vert cat, his freshman and sophomore year, who's sitting on the bench, he either chose to grow and now his junior and senior year, he's actually playing, or he can choose to not. He probably won't make it. He'll just still be a 4.3, 40-inch vert cat on the bench
Yeah.
his senior year.
Absolutely. So from a training standpoint, from a physicality standpoint, from a endurance standpoint, what is the biggest difference from high school to college football?
The running,
Is there a lot more?
a lot more running. You're going to be in shape. And I don't blame him. That's not an option.
Yeah.
Game is so fast that it's really not an option. As far as the physical part, like the weightlifting, I would say, I would personally say I was driving myself that hard in the weight room anyways,
Yeah.
but you could tell that that was not necessarily the case for everybody.
Yeah.
So it is definitely a different level. And that was one of the few places that I had ever felt truly pushed in the weight room. So
Yeah.
really even harder than I was doing before. But plus you had, good meals. The cafeteria food was good. Uh, we had a dietitian that would actually, you know, create our own plans for us to reach our, weight goals or our body fat percentage goals.
Yeah. Do you feel like the having a strength and conditioning coach makes a big difference?
Having a strength and conditioning coach makes all the difference
Yeah.
because their sole job is to be a bat out of hell and really push you to get to that next level. And their sole job is to make sure that if you want to look like this or the coach wants you to look like this, you're going to look like that
Yeah.
by any means necessary, whether you like it or not. This program has proven to get you to this point. You have no choice but to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've never seen a strength and conditioning coach who wasn't absolutely jacked.
Yeah,
They're different
for
breed.
real.
I remember going to a North Carolina camp, and they let the strength and conditioning coach talk. His voice was on steroids, bro. Like he was probably about 5'6", but the dude was absolutely jacked and
Wow.
had the deepest voice I've ever heard in my life.
Man, that's how my strength and conditioning coach at Lenore Ryan was. Really, even Fort Scott and at UGA. But like at LR, I don't know if you've ever well, I know you've seen my Instagram
Yeah,
stories. Like when I'm running, sometimes you'll just hear me saying like see. You'll just hear me just a real loud just see.
yeah,
And it's just something that has stuck with me from my first strength and conditioning coach, Coach Caldwell, because he used to say that all the time whenever we'd be like maxing out or we'd be doing something hard, and that's just kind of like an outlet. Whenever I do that, I just know like, okay, Coach Caldwell's watching me, or I
yeah.
know I can do better. See, like, let's get it.
So not only like are you mentally so basically just what I'm getting from you is like you don't want to let anyone down, you don't want to let yourself down, and you want to push yourself better to be better than anybody. So you're just like a competitive guy, bro.
Everything's a game,
Yeah, absolutely. No,
bro.
I get that.
Every yeah, man. To
Yeah,
me, everything is a game, and I don't like to lose.
no,
So um, yeah, if I can be the best at something, you know, I might not ever reach it, but I'm
yeah,
sure gonna try. I'd be stupid not to try.
yeah. And so I've talked to a couple coaches about NIL. I've talked to a couple people from the outside, from the inside. I've never talked to a actual player about NIL. How do you feel about it, and how is it affecting the game from your standpoint?
Man, this is an unpopular opinion, and a lot of my uh, fellow teammates probably don't agree with me on this, but I think NIL is destroying the game,
Yeah,
and that's coming from somebody who was in it during the transition. There was no NIL, wasn't even thought of to actually it being implemented and people getting paid. You could tell the culture of the game is changing.
yeah. It shifted a bit.
It shifted a lot from
Yeah,
inside the programs. Like I don't even blame a lot of these different coaches for retiring. I can't blame a lot of players also for wanting to transfer schools. It what you're seeing with NIL and what's happening within the actual team ecosystems, the same thing that's happening with the coaches. They're going somewhere until they can get paid bigger somewhere else. So the only difference is the coaches could do it freely before, and the players were stuck. Now the players are able to do that and get paid through NIL collectives
yeah.
somewhere else.
The problem, so I see it both sides. So I see like NCAA is making billions of dollars a year without a doubt. They're making their money. So are coaches.
Yeah,
So are programs. So I see why players would want to get paid because hey, this is my name. I'm the reason. QBs, big star players. I'm the reason this place is so big. I mean, imagine what Johnny Manziel would be making right now if he was in NIL, right? But on the
yeah,
other side, it's like, well, now these players can go wherever they want. They can get paid however much they want. And if they don't want to get drafted, they really don't have to get drafted because they're making enough money where they don't have to choose that, right? And if they don't like a
yeah,
certain coach or they don't like the style, they could just be like, okay, I'm injured and, I'm just going to transfer at the end of the year. So I think the integrity of the game is somewhat diminishing. And it's
yeah,
becoming more of a free agency every year than it is a collegiate sport, which is a problem, I think, because then it's like, well, all these games don't really mean anything. 'Cause you're not in it for winning. You're in it or in it for legacy. You're in it for the money, and I think that's the biggest issue.
yeah. I think that one we all as a society, as a capitalistic society, we
Yeah,
view money as power, right? Not necessarily influence as power. So before NIL, you had these players of huge influence, and they were able to, make an impact on communities, but people still didn't see them as positions of power until they made it to the NFL.
yeah,
Now you're having, these young kids, 17, 18 years old, with, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, and they're in positions of power. Now, that is why I really think NIL is kind of destroying the integrity of the game because that kind of power and that kind of money in the hands of a young man who is not yet developed or not yet fully disciplined is
Yeah,
dangerous.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. You never know, like, what they're gonna do with this money, how it may affect them. Like, do you think they're gonna make any regulations? Are they gonna cut back on anything, or is this just gonna be a full blown free for all for everybody?
Well, it's a business. So who really knows? Like they could come out and be like, well, like the colleges could come out and be like, well, yeah, there's a cap to what we can
Yeah,
do here. But I don't see that happening. I don't see, any system that's already built off of exploitation anyways to stop exploiting.
yeah. The thing is, man, I just don't see any like Caleb Williams, for example. He said, "Well, if I don't want to go to the draft or I don't like who drafts me, I'll just go back for another year." And then you
Yeah,
have
that's
people
crazy.
like LeBron James' son. You have Arch Manning, who are making millions of dollars a year. Arch Manning's sitting on the bench for another year with Quinn Ewers starting. And LeBron James Jr., he doesn't have to go to the draft. He's making 9 mil a year right now. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
And he don't even need 9 mil. What does he need 9 mil for? His dad's a billionaire.
yeah. Well, I mean, what's he? What is? Like, what are they gonna do with that?
I don't know. I mean, I just think there is a problem for sure. I
Yeah,
don't see how this could continue as it is. Because take Alabama for example. Whenever Nick Saban left, Deuces, the whole team left. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Everybody left, and that's I don't. They have to put some type of regulation in, or it's just going to get worse and worse. Imagine Dabo Swinney leaving Clemson.
right.
It's just massive, bro. It's just one of
Yeah,
those
that'd
things
be
you
a
don't see
massive.
happening.
Yeah, that'd be a massive hit, man. And I think it's too far gone. I don't think you could really reel it back in. You've already set an expectation.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are you seeing like whenever you were in college playing football? What are you seeing from a athletic and a, I guess, talent standpoint compared to high school? Is it like, okay, high school you had one or two players that were good and they controlled the team, and then in college it's like, okay, everybody's good, nobody's controlling the team, but you have those other upper echelon players who are the captains of the team.
Yeah, these young men are getting really athletic.
Was that?
Seriously, I said these young men are getting really athletic.
Yes,
Seriously.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, some people are just built different. Like I don't even know how to explain it. Just gifted, truly God gifted.
Yeah, you're one of those people, Miles. Like I don't think you understand, but you're one of those people. What was your 40
I
time?
ran a 4.5, man.
4 or 5. See, that's respectable. And then your vertical. Did you ever do a vertical?
Yeah, my vert was 40.
40. Jesus Christ, Miles. Dang it.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, what were you listed at in high school when height and weight? Or let's go
In
college.
high school is a 4.5. I'm in a 4.8 40, um, and a 37-inch vert. And I
Yeah.
was listed at 5'11. I think it was like 206. And then in college, I was 6 foot 235 and a 4.5 40 40-inch vert.
Christ. Bro, I'm telling you right now, you are one of the most athletic people I've seen in my life. Like I remember,
Wow.
I believe it was either spring or maybe summer workouts, and we were in maybe full pads for the first time. And I think Donnie had either ran a slant or an out route, and you caught Donnie midair on your
I remember
shoulder.
that. Yeah.
On your shoulder. This caused a fight. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah, that's why I
And
remember that.
Donnie's my height. He's like 5'6", right?
Yeah.
And you caught him on your shoulder and just slammed him into the fucking ground. I still remember. I was sitting there. I was waiting to go on scout team. I was scared as shit. And I remember you slaying. I still remember that, like, because there was not mildew, but dew all over the ground. I remember all the water going up in the air like an earthquake just happened. And he literally
Yeah,
tried to go up
man.
and push you. All you did was like one armed him, and he went away. I was like, he just stiff armed you, bro. Like, just stop. Just go back to the huddle. You used to do this all the time. Like, I've never seen somebody throw their body into people with such ferocity in my life. It's insane. Where did that come from? Where did that anger?
Oh
You played. You're a very nice guy. You are. When I'm talking to you, you're a very stand up, nice guy. When it comes to the field, you were completely different, bro. Where did that come from?
man, I honestly, if you asked me who I was on the field, I honestly couldn't even tell you,
Like, did you smell salts before the game? Like, who was you? Who were you at? Where were you?
bro. I, I
Even
don't
in
even know.
practice, man.
Whenever pads or cleats were on, whenever there was a time where I could truly prove that I was the more dominant out of anybody, I was gonna try to prove that every single play.
Yeah,
So I was in that grind mode every single play, every single practice, every weight session. Like that's just if I could win, that's
you're
just
gonna
what it was
win.
gonna be.
Yeah,
So on the field, man, true competitors plus people that are talking trash. Like I said, I really didn't talk trash like that. I would just hit you and let you, process that however you want to. But
yeah,
if you said something to me that was out like crazy, just know I had a vendetta out for you. Like I was coming for you.
absolutely. So was there
Yeah.
that day? Was there a vendetta or what happened?
With Donnie?
Yeah,
Yeah, man. I didn't know Donnie was like I I didn't know Donnie was, mixed.
yeah.
And, me and him, we had some choice words and yeah, it was game on. For
What
sure.
happened, Miles? Tell us what happened. Tell the people
It
what
was
happened.
it was for sure. I'll keep that story between me and Donnie. He know what happened. He knows what happened, but like I don't even know if you remember, but with Jared at
Yeah,
practice,
Jared Tillman.
I
Yeah, I remember him.
I destroyed him too one day at practice, and it wasn't even on purpose, but he was talking trash as
Yeah,
Jared would always do,
absolutely.
and he didn't know me yet. Oh, nobody really knew me yet,
Yeah.
so that was just a perfect opportunity to make an
So
example out
what?
of him.
The thing is, man, is like I said, I've never seen somebody who sacrifices their body for anything that can get the stop like you did in high school. I've never seen anything like that. Maybe it's some upper echelon schools like Grayson or something like that, but the athleticism to be and the confidence to know where the angles, where these people are going to be at the right time, when to come through, when to stay back. Like it was different, bro. Like it really was. Like I don't. Do you feel like you were overlooked at your time in Grovetown because of the other athletes we had?
I would I would say yes and no.
Okay.
I never really cared about how it looked like, if I'm being honest
Yeah.
with you. Because at the end of the day, my stats were always crazy. So if you
Yeah.
looked on paper, you could see who was playing for real. So I guess you could say in terms of like optics or visibility, maybe. I was also a loner. Like I really just kind of chilled, kept to myself. I really didn't, go hang out at a lot of places or nothing like that. I was
Yeah.
pretty much at practice or at the gym or in my room, like playing the guitar or something like that. So I really wasn't. I was never chasing that kind of visibility.
Yeah. I just
But
felt
yeah,
like because I've seen the film, bro. Like especially before this, I wanted to make sure I looked through everything and knew exactly who I was talking to before I was talking to. Some of the plays you made, you know what I mean. And I haven't talked to you since high school. So some of the plays you have made, not only in high school but in college, it's like people aren't making these plays. It's that simple, right? So
yeah,
you were not loud with your words, but you were loud with the talent you showed on the field, which is not that doesn't happen often. You know what I mean? A lot of people,
yeah,
the cat's always louder than the lion because the lion, he knows what he has. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
that's what I felt like in high school. It was just different, right? I've seen a lot of DBs. We had a lot of good DBs in the time, linebackers. But when it comes to athleticism and being able to stop on a dime, there was something different. So growing up, like, did you train for that, or is this something that you've already had and you're just athletic as a person?
And I think I think it's both.
Yeah.
Um, I think when one of the first sports I played was soccer.
Yeah.
So I think that's important for any parent that, wants to put their child through athletics is to develop the footwork first, which I was in soccer. And then it was T-ball, develop the hand-eye coordination. Once you put the two together, you can play anything. You can play tennis,
Yeah.
hand-eye coordination. You can play golf. You can play whatever sport you want. But I would say in starting seventh grade, I used to train with my brother, um, who was already in high school, like a junior, senior year, and his teammates and his friends, and they were like the best of the best as well. The ones who on Saturdays we'd go out and we go back to the field and do footwork on Saturdays. We do footwork throughout the week. We hit the gym after practice, before school, and there's different things like that. I was the youngest one there.
Yeah.
I was in seventh grade. They were all juniors and seniors. So I think getting that mentality from them so early allowed me to be a little bit ahead of the game on knowing how to prepare.
Yeah.
So I really had a jump start, probably like 2 or 3 years jump start on,
Yeah.
my teammates or even, my opponents.
What made you fall in love with football? What was the defining moment there?
This is going to sound crazy, but it was actually hitting somebody and them like refusing to go up against me again.
Was this like Pee Wee?
This was like Pee Wee football,
Yeah.
bro.
So explain that. What were y'all doing? Like what was it?
Bull in the
Oklahoma.
ring. Bull in the ring, my man.
Bull in the Ring was the shit. I did miss that. Yeah.
Ooh, I used to love Bull in the ring. What? Give me the ball. Let me get in the middle and
Yeah.
just choose whoever I wanted to take out. Say less. That
Yeah.
was perfect.
So
But
explain. You were doing Bull in the Ring. If people don't know Bull in the Ring, you have one guy in the middle with the football. Outside, you have a circle around this person with the other players. Usually, it's skill players. They don't usually do this with. Sometimes they did, but they don't do it with linemen, nothing like that. And everybody's chopping their feet. At this time, the running back or whoever has the ball can pick who they want to hit, and or the coach will pick it. Myles, go ahead and go with it.
man, I used to pick the lineman. That's who I wanted because the running backs and wide receivers and DBs, that wasn't even like
They
a
ain't want to
worry for
hit.
me.
They ain't want
Nah,
to
I didn't
hit.
want to hit for real. Not like that. If I couldn't get somebody that would try to give me a run for my money, I ain't want it.
Yeah.
So I used to pick the lineman. So yeah, that defining moment was actually in second grade for me. I went up against one of my old friends named Micah, and he had always been bigger than everybody else. Like
Yeah.
at least
Corn
like a
fed.
foot and a half. Yeah, corn fed, yeah, corn
Grits.
fed, well watered, grits, neck bones, and rice. Out there
You got some
fishing on
chitlins
the
every morning.
weekends. Yeah, wrestling an alligator,
Yeah.
looking, But yeah, that's who he was, and he used to talk a lot.
Yeah. As they do.
Okay, we gonna see. And I remember hitting him and then seeing his helmet fly off and roll on the ground. I remember he was like second grade. Seeing
Yeah.
his helmet fly off and roll on the ground, and then yeah, he quit after that. He quit
You
for the
made
rest
the
of the
boy
season.
quit.
Yeah, he quit that team. He actually went and joined another team in a different city.
Miles, did you feel bad about yourself when this happened?
No, I did not at all, because
That
I
made you
was
fall in
like,
love with it.
yeah, that made me fall in love with it. I was like, man, what?
So was it the adrenaline? It was the fact that you competed with this guy and made him absolutely like humiliated. What was the point where you were like, "Yeah, I
No,
love this"?
actually, that was the part I hated, was that I humiliated him. It was really the
Really? Okay.
adrenaline. Yeah, it was really the adrenaline. Because the only people I ever wanted to try to like humiliate or anything was really opponents.
Yeah,
That's why like during the Lakeside game, why I took Buddy and threw him into the bench with the water
I
cooler,
remember that.
like stuff like that. That's because they were opponents, and there's a level of fear you have to instill in your opponents. Like
Absolutely.
know who I am before you try me. But then it was just straight adrenaline, and
Yeah.
after that, I felt that rush. I've kind of been like an adrenaline junkie ever since.
Yeah. Well, especially with that, everybody's watching. So you're like, damn, I can't mess this up. Like everybody's watching,
Yeah,
literally. The coaches,
yeah,
the family. No lie, one time, you remember Coach Z?
yeah.
Dude, we did before a game. This is pre-game. This was on playing JV. He made us do Bull in the Ring pre-game. Pre-game. I'm like, Coach, half
Wow.
these players don't even know half the fucking playbook. You doing Bull in the Ring right now? I was like, get the clipboard out and get the whiteboard out. Let's go over some plays. Why are we
There
doing
you go.
Bull in the Ring? I swear on everything I love, we did Bull in the Ring. And sometimes me, AJ, Kirk, whenever we were playing, with Coach Z or Coach the other ball guy, what was his name? Shit, he was defensive coach.
Oh, Coach Evans or
No,
Coach
not
Gunn?
Coach Evans. No, I love Coach Gunner though. I did like Coach Gunner. I don't know why. It was the energy, bro. It was the
Yeah,
energy. He made it. Everybody was gonna be the same level. Either you're gonna do this or you're not. I did love Coach Gunner, but
yeah,
Coach Z
for
would
real.
call a play. One time we called a jet sweep to the right. I was like, okay, cool. Like we had JK at the time, and he came by. He was quick. He probably ran like a 4 or 5 guy, like 5 yards. Next
Yeah,
play, he calls a jet sweep to the left. I'm like, fuck no, we're not calling that. We just called a jet sweep to the right. We're not doing
yeah,
that. So sometimes we looked at the playbook, me, Kirk, and AJ, because they were the starters, like, hey, what are we doing? Because we're not running the same play twice, and we would
yeah,
change it. And sometimes that was needed. But going back to Coach Gunner, he was my coach for freshman year. He was the freshman football coach. And I'll tell you, we was a track team. Everybody got skinny that year, bro. He was
oh
the
yeah,
most insane coach, but the reason I loved him is because everybody had the same exact opportunities. There was no political bullshit with him. You either got it or you didn't. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
Someone like me who was 5'7", 135 in high school, he was like, if you can make the plays, you're going to be out there, right? And I used to have to fight for those positions because I'm undersized, but I had the quickness and I had somewhat of an arm to do so. So I
yeah,
remember going up against what was his name? Nolan Short. Dude's 6'3", probably 220 at this time. We're freshmen or sophomores in high school, and Gunner took a liking to me because I knew the plays and I knew what the timing was and I knew what needed to be done. And that's the
yeah,
reason I respect that man so much is because no matter what, he gave me the same opportunity as the other person. While, there was a lot of politics in Grovetown, there simply was, whoever's boosting the most, whoever it was just certain things, bro. I'm not gonna get into it, but there was a lot of politics in Grovetown. And the fact that Coach Gunner was the actual one of the realest coaches on that coaching staff. Now, he should have been a higher up, in my opinion.
yeah. I loved Coach Gunner, man, for
Yeah,
real. He was
he was. He
he
definitely pushed us that other coaches didn't push us. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Me and him had a special connection because he would he understood how I thought.
Yep.
So that made me feel secure and safe
Yeah.
in playing the way I did at practice because I knew that he actually trusted what I was thinking, not that he just didn't
Absolutely.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, like I had that standard of I'm going to hit you like at practice. I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna pick the ball off. I'm gonna not take it easy on you on purpose.
Yeah.
And he also had that mentality of y'all had like I'm not gonna ask him to slow down.
Yeah.
Y'all need to
Why
pick it
should
up.
he? Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
You
And he
should
was
play.
strict
You
about
should
that.
practice how you play. If you're just going through the motions and let's say you slacking off during practice, you're gonna slack off during the game.
Yeah.
That's how your mind is wired. If you're going to
Yeah.
slack off during practice, you're going to slack off during the game. But the thing is you have 10 other players out there who are counting on you to play how you need to play.
Yeah.
Literally, your head is on the line because if you do something wrong, my shit's gonna get kicked in. You know what I mean? And that's the
Right.
problem, man. We would have a few players who mentally were there and they were ready to play and they were ready to practice. They come out every day. They weren't messing around. They were here. They weren't joking around and they were here to play. And then you had other players who simply were out there just to put a fucking jersey on and to wave at their mom and take pictures after the game. That's just a simple. That's just it. You know
Yeah.
that. I know that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not everybody deserves a spot on the football team. That's a fact.
Yeah. Nah. Nah, for sure. Nah, that's What I loved about high school though was that them people that were just out there just for the jersey and the pictures, they brought energy to the team for sure. They
Yeah,
would be out there goofing around and all that stuff. And it could be distracting. Don't get me wrong. It would cause people to not lock in,
yeah.
100%. But I think that diversity and change of energy helped a lot. I
I
would say when you start getting into people paying you money, like people paying for you to go to school and stuff like that, um, yeah, that completely changes.
yeah,
Uh, even I think that filtering out the type of culture you have on your team, I think that can make a big difference in high school.
yeah.
Bigger difference than the type of players you have, but really what kind of culture you have. Because with a good culture, even the worst of players still fall in line.
Absolutely. Well, Miles, tell the people some positive vibes, man. You're an athlete. What do you have to say on the athletes and maybe just someone who's trying to be competitive, trying to get through the day, trying to do their 9 to 5 job, just like Myles Jackson would do his, your business or whatever you may be doing. What's some positive vibes you can give to the people?
Hey man, I say two things: get up and run. Not necessarily, actually run, but when it sucks, when it's cold, when it's rainy outside, and you don't want to do it, are you going to do it? Every day
Yeah,
we have a decision to make. Make the choice, and it'll help you get there. And also, even when times feel like they're down or times feel like they're the worst, keep going because you'll never know what's on the other side. You never know what taking
absolutely.
one more step can do for you.
And tell people about your business and what you got going on right now.
Yeah, so I do business funding. I help small businesses acquire capital to scale their businesses.
Awesome. You got an ad? You got an Instagram profile, Facebook profile, anything like that, or maybe a website?
Yeah, you can check out my website at jacksonsbfc.com.
Perfect.
And also have all our social medias are basically the same handle.
Perfect. Miles, I appreciate you coming on today, bro. I really do miss talking to you, competing with you.
Heck yeah.
If you ever need anything, let me know. I appreciate you being on the podcast. Everybody else, peace out. Jackson, I
For
appreciate
sure.
you.
Peace, man.